So hey everyone, in this video we are going to display all the featured properties that we have within our database inside our Next.js application. Okay, so if you remember in one of those videos where we did the data upload, we had this properties.json file, right, which I had provided you to play with some data that we have. So each entry in our database, we have a property called is featured. Okay, so is featured is true only for three particular properties. Okay, so rest of the properties we do not have this property of is featured. Okay, so we are going to display these properties whose value of is featured is true. Okay, I hope that made sense. So right now let's get started with this video. So this is the home page that we built in one of those videos, and we will be displaying those featured properties right below this about us section. Okay, so let us go ahead and just start with that. So now what we need to do is we need to perform some database actions in order to retrieve those properties whose is featured property is true. Okay, so now let's go back to the home page of this application, that is within the app directory, and we have this page.tsx, right? So over there we are rendering the about us section, and now we can go ahead and make a database query and fetch all the featured properties. And I just want to console log and show you are we actually getting those properties or not. Okay, so since this page is already a server side rendered page, how do I say that? Because we are not marking this page as use client. Okay, so if you are marking that as use client, then it is marked as a client component. So whatever we log to the console, it will be displayed on the browser and not inside our terminal. Okay, so this is already a server component, so we do not have to create a new file and marked as use server and then make a database request. So we can just do it directly within this page itself. Okay, so this is a server side rendered page, and what I can do now is I can just create a variable called featured properties, and I can just set this to db. Okay, so remember in one of those videos we had created an instance of the database. Okay, so within the index.ts where we had initialized the Prisma client, okay, within this variable, and we have exported that. Okay, so now we are going to import that db itself. Okay, I'm just going to direct auto import. You see that it uses the path alias of Next.js, and we are importing the db. Okay, so db dot it since this is a TypeScript framework, it gives you all the different suggestions. Okay, so db dot property, images, or user. So we need the property, right? db dot property dot find many. Okay, so find many will give us all the properties that we have within our database if we don't pass in any arguments. Excuse me. So now we just need those properties whose is featured property is marked as true. Okay, so within this curly braces, we need to provide the property of is featured to true. So to provide any condition for our properties, we write it within the where clause. Okay, so you see that we get some suggestions here, and we need to write this inside another object where is featured. Okay, you also get it's very easy, guys. So you also get some suggestions over here since we are using TypeScript, and we just need to say that is featured is set to true. Okay, like so, and yeah, so we do not get any errors, which means that it is it's already working. And so if we do not have any feature, any property within our database of this feature, it will give us a TypeScript error. Like if I just add a double D, you see that it says that this doesn't exist in type of the property. So do you mean to write this one, right? So it gives us a lot of type safety over here. And yeah, so we along with the property details, we also need the images. Okay, also. Okay, so we created another model for images which are linked to the property, so we also need those images. So let us also type in another clause called include. Okay, so this is a property where we need to mention the model name, that is images, and set this to true. Okay, so this will also give us all the images for the property that we have, and then we only need the top three is featured things. Okay, so if you want, you can even expand this and make a horizontal slider of is featured properties. So for now I'm just taking the top three results of our whatever the featured properties we have in our database. So we can just type a property called take. Okay, so if we type in the number of elements, so this will give us three results. Okay, so whatever the number you type in over here. Okay, even though if it is like 6 to 9 results it yields, it will only give us the top 3 results. Okay, so now we can console log the featured properties that we are getting, featured properties, and if we save this file and just open our terminal, and we should see that we are getting some error, I guess. So actually I forgot to write within an async await function for this db property. Okay, so every db operation within our Prisma client is asynchronous, so we need to await everything that we make a action, and finally we can make the entire home page function itself a async component. Okay, so we can just write a export default async function. Okay, so we can mark directly async function to any server component that we are rendering. Okay, so this will actually create this this will render this component asynchronously, and we can make any kind of database actions by using the await syntax. Okay, so with that saved, and now if I go back to the terminal and make a request over here and then get back, I am getting an empty array. Maybe I have done some mistakes, so I just need to figure out what is wrong. I don't know what is the reason. Within my MySQL workbench, for all the properties, the is featured property is actually 0. Okay, so actually it uses 0 or 1 for true false values. So even though I set the is featured property for true for the first 3 properties, it is still showing 0. So I'll just try to debug this later, and just for now I can just manually give this true within our database like so. So even if it is not working for you guys, so you can just do some backend database hack just to make this work, and I will just let you know what is actually wrong. Okay, so if I click on apply, and okay, so now this MySQL script is applied to our database, and now if I just close and head back to my application, so I should be able to see those 3 properties displayed. Okay, so now you see I get those 3 properties which are displayed over here along with those images and those 3 properties that we actually listed. Okay, so we are also getting the images which is inside another object. Okay, so in our terminal it doesn't display these object types, and yeah, so everything looks good. So only thing is right now we need to create those property cards and then display them on the user interface. Okay, so now let's go back to our UI, and we can just create a component to render all the properties that we are getting for our featured properties. Okay, so we can just go right below this about us section and start building our property card. Okay, so now let us give a div of the class name section and a class name of container padding, and finally a class name of featured properties itself. And all of these classes, by the way, you can find it within our glovers.css, okay, which I actually created for you guys over here. And I think we need to wrap our entire return statement with fragments like so. And all right, okay, so within this div tag I am going to give another tag of h1 and giving it a class name of heading. Okay, and then we are going to say featured properties. Okay, so now if I save this and go back, I should be able to see the featured properties over here. Okay, so there you go, and I have given it a slightly background color to make this a little more appealing, so to highlight the featured properties. Okay, so that's what these class names are actually doing, and maybe I can just place this side by side. So I've just kept this side by side so that you can just see the visual output of what I'm actually typing. And right now let's give a paragraph tag of a class name paragraph, and another class name of margin bottom of 1. Okay, so this is like a margin bottom of 1 rem, and we want to center the text center and hit enter, and within that we can just give a small text, okay, right below this featured properties, like explore our featured properties and that are currently available for sale and rent. Okay, so this is our text, and if I save that, we should see over here. Okay, good. So now let us render out all the property cards. Okay, so this is just some static content. If you don't want to type it out, you can just copy and paste. You can find it within my Git repository. And also let's create the component first. Let's now go back to our components and create a file over there for property cards .tsx, and let's sketch out a component first, and let's call this property cards just to see something. And let's now render this on our home page, property cards. All right, so if I save that, we should be able to see the text of property cards. Okay, good. And now we can give a button for viewing all the properties, okay, which we haven't created yet, but we can just since we are already in the section, let's give that button over there. So to render this button, of course we can just write this give a button tag from and design, okay, and give this type of primary, and then give a class name of flex center. All right, so now we also need the size of large, so this should be of a large size. Okay, so all of these are coming from and design, okay, by the way, and large. And let's close this out, and now let us give the text of view properties. Okay, so now if I save, I should be able to see the button. Yeah, there we go. For some reason it's not centered, so this should maybe, if I just expand this, okay, so something's wrong. Sorry, the class name is not flex center, but it's view btn, view button. And if I save that, this should actually expand, and I just need to wrap this entire button with our link tag. Okay, so the link is actually coming from the next/link. Okay, so this is similar to the use navigate from React router DOM. Okay, so this will navigate you to another page without any page refresh. Okay, so this is the ultimate purpose of a single page application like React, right? So let us wrap this with the next link tag over here, and we can just place the button inside that. Okay, so we need a href attribute for this, so href, and we need to mention where it has to go when we click on this button. So that should go to /properties, right? So which we are still yet to build this properties. Okay, so we will build this in one of the next videos, so that error should be gone. And we need to give another class name for this called flex center, and this should center the view properties. And yeah, okay, so that's done. Now we can go ahead and start building our property cards. Okay, so we'll be using the and design card component, and we will be customizing that. All right, so now let's go back to our property cards, and let us replace this content of property cards with a first of all, we need to receive props. Okay, so we will be sending the property cards with a prop of these properties that we are getting. Okay, so we can just say properties and set this equal to the featured properties that we are getting from the database. Okay, so this is giving a warning, this because we do not have that props that we are receiving. So let us receive those properties, and this is going to be a type of like property. And also, by the way guys, you can also import types from Prisma. Okay, so what will be the type of properties that we will be getting, and we will be this will be of type property. Okay, and you see that you get from @/prisma/client. Okay, so this will be of array of properties, so like so. Sorry, this should be inside another object which receives the properties, and this is going to be of type property, like so. Okay, and array of properties. Okay, so now we do not get that error anymore, and yeah, so everything looks good. So now we can start building the property card. So now I am going to map all the properties that we are receiving, and we are going to display a card for every property. Okay, so let us replace this with fragments, and let us write a expression saying properties dot map. Okay, so for every property that we receive, so we want to return something, right? So let's import the Next.js, sorry, the AndDesign card, like so, and within the card we are just going to pass in some props, okay? Like this is going to be of hoverable, okay? So when we hover on that, so it will give us some box shadow, and then let's give us some class names. So so by default it will have some padding, so we do not want that, and let us give some margin at the bottom, and this should be of cursor pointer, so that when we click on the card it should navigate us to another page, right? So pointer. Okay, so now let's close it up, and let us know right now print something. Okay, so this should be property, and so now if I just say property, property, and save this, so we should be getting 3 cards, right? So if I just save this and have a look, and yeah, so we see 3 cards out here. Okay, so if I hover on them, this gets hovered, and yeah, so this is all about it. So now we can go ahead and start building this. So now let us use AndDesign grid in order to display these cards so that it is compatible both on mobile and desktop screen sizes. So let us replace this with row from Andy. Okay, so within this row we are going to give it a gutter of 16 by 16. So this will give us some spacing between different elements within our grid. Okay, and let us also give it a prop of wrap. Okay, so this will wrap our, okay, so it will be responsive even for mobile screens, and within our row we are going to show a column. Okay, so for extra small screens we are going to display the entire viewport width. Okay, so each it is divided into 24 segments, so we want to give the entire 24 segments for small screens, and for medium screens we want to display like half of it, we want to display 1/3 of it. So let us give like 24 divided by 3 is 8, right? So let's give 8, and within our column we can just pass in our first we can just give a image carousel. Okay, so that we can just slide across all the images we have for the property. So let us also import carousel from Andy, and we can just pass in some props, like we need arrows, and then let's give some styling. Okay, so like saying height is going to be of 200 pixel. Okay, so this is just static, so I've just using it as it is. Okay, so let us close this carousel, and within our carousel we are going to show the images of our properties. Okay, so now we can just use an expression. So for the property that we receive, it has a property called images, right? So for every image we are going to show that. So property dot images dot length. Okay, so first we want to check if the length is greater than 0, only then do we show that. If not, we are going to show a default image. Okay, so at least one image to show, so we don't want to show something blank, right? So if the length, if it is greater than 0, then we want to show something else. We want to this should be question mark. We want to show something else, right? So within this we want to map across all the images. So property dot images dot map. So for every image we want to also we need the index of the image for the key prop. Okay, so we just want to return some JSX, right? So that is going to be an image tag from Next.js. Okay, so if you remember that, we already spoke about that in the last video. So let us import that, and we are just going to pass in some props like the unique key prop. So that is going to be the index itself. Okay, and then we have the source attribute. Okay, so where is the actual image residing? So that is coming from image.url. Okay, so if you remember that, we have provided a URL property for every image, which will contain the URL of the image and also an ID assigned to it. Okay, so URL. So I just remember we already assigned the ID for image. So instead of using this index, we can use the image.id itself. Okay, so it is giving me some TypeScript errors for now, because we are actually not we do not actually have images within our property object that we are importing the type from. Okay, so Prisma doesn't know that we also need the images along with the properties. Okay, so we are going to extend the type of this property. Okay, so let us do that later. So now we can focus on building this image actually. So then we have the source attribute, and let's give the alt of property image, or the property image. All right, and then we have the width and height. Okay, so width is automatically going to span across how much available area it has. So for now I'm just going to give it 0, but I'm going to give the sizes prop of 100 viewport width, so that it will take the entire available space. Okay, so and then the height, so height is going to be 200 pixel. Okay, as I mentioned over here. So if you want, you can put anything of your desired height. Okay, so then we have this is just going to be 200 and not pixels. And then we have is the object fit. Okay, so object fit is going to be cover. Okay, and then we have the sizes prop of 100 viewport width, and then we have the class name of image. Okay, so this is just going to give us some border radius for the image. Okay, so it looks good. And then we have the priority. Okay, so we want to fetch these images as soon as possible, so priority, that is set to true. Okay, so now let us close this image tag. Okay, so now if there are images, we are rendering this. So if there is no image, we want to show a default image, right? So within this else block, we are going to still show the image tag, but the source is coming from the default image. Okay, so remember in one of those videos I told you to import all the images that we have for our project. Okay, so if you haven't watched that video, here is the where is that, we have within the public folder right over here, and we have all the images, okay, along with the default image. So if you don't have that yet, you can just go to my repository and just copy paste it, and we are just going to give that over here. Okay, so give it a source attribute of default image. Okay, so we need to import that as well. So now let's import the default image. Import default image from, so that is @/public /images/default image.png. okay, so now let's attach that to the source attribute of this, and remember this is going to be default image.source. okay, so we do not want to pass in the entire object of that, so source. Okay, so you can also pass in entire object, but still Next.js will be able to detect that, so anything of your choice. So alt going to be default image, all right. Then we have the width and height. Again, I can just copy it from here itself. All right, so we have we don't need priority for this. Okay, so then we have the class name, the sizes, the object fit, and the height. Okay, so let us close this image tag, and yeah, so if we save this, and we should be able to see our so this is one error which I forgot to mention, that whenever we are importing any image inside our Next.js image tag, okay, so we need to explicitly go to our Next.js config file, and then we need to mention the allowed hosts, okay, wherever we are fetching these images. Okay, so we are fetching it from rest.cloudinary.com, so we need to register that within our valid domains. Okay, so let us now go back to next.config.mjs, and within here let us give the host of rest.cloudinary.com, and if we add that, it should probably work. Okay, so inside this object we need to specify the images. Inside that we are going to give in another object of remote patterns. Okay, so where are the remote images being fetched, from which URL, which domain. Okay, so this is going to be an array where we need to specify the host name and the protocol. Okay, so let us specify that protocol is going to be HTTPS. okay, so Cloudinary runs on HTTPS, and then we have the host name, that is going to be this one. So let us copy this. All right, and then we have the finally the path name. Okay, so we are going to specify for every path. Okay, so after image upload, for anything. Okay, so image, okay, we can just put in star. Okay, so for anything that comes after this. Okay, so with that saved, we should probably now be able to see those images. Okay, so if I save this and try to reload this, let's wait. Yeah, there we go. We are now displaying all the images we have for the properties. Okay, so for some reason, yeah, it's actually loading very late for some reason. So anyway, so we are getting those images. As you can see over here, the carousel are also working. And yeah, so now let's go ahead and build the further components of this card. So right below our carousel, let's give a div of class card header. Okay, and right inside that we are going to render a paragraph tag of card header dash title. So this will be the title of our card, and inside that we are going to display the type of our property. Okay, either it's for rent or for sale, and we can just type in for and then give a dynamic string of property dot type dot to uppercase. Okay, so we are going to show it in the uppercase format, and yeah, so this is going to show us the property type. So now if we save this, we should be able to see the property types. Yeah, okay, so this is for rent, this is for sale, and again this is for rent. Okay, so now let us continue with this. Then we have the another paragraph tag of class name price. Okay, so card header price, like so. So now we are going to display the property price. Okay, so property dot price dot to local string. Okay, so this will give us some commas for the price that we add. Okay, so that it doesn't look like a phone number, like if you are like giving it for sale. So if we do that and save this, so we should probably be seeing the price of this. Okay, you see that 2500, and we need to add a currency for this. So I think let us grab the rupee symbol. Okay, from here, and then go back to our application and then put a rupee symbol right before the over there. So we see the rupee over there. Okay, so now let us proceed ahead. So now we want to show some property features, like what are the, like how much BHK, and like is it for all that, I just don't remember. So we are going to display the area, the the preferred tenants and all of that. Okay, and we are going to display that in the form of tag. Okay, that is also coming from and design. So let us give the tag element over here. Okay, right below this div. I know guys, if this is kind of boring, you can just of course copy the source code and then paste it, if this is not giving you much educational value. Okay, so let us render the tag element from Andy, and the icon which we are going to give us the we are also going to use and design icons, by the way. Okay, so you can also import icons from and design. So first thing is we are going to display the number of bedroom, halls and kitchens. Okay, so the icon which we will be using is the home outline. Okay, maybe we can auto import that. No, it doesn't give some suggestions. Okay, so let us manually import that, and then the color is going to be blue. Okay, and let us now give the property.bhk. All right, and now we just need to split. Okay, because the I'll just show you what actually we get. So let us import the So that is coming from @and/icons. I'm not sure, so it should be @design/icons, I guess. Yeah, so that's done. Now if we save this, we should probably be seeing that, yeah, there we go, with the home icon over there. And yeah, so there should be some padding issue, I guess. Maybe I removed the padding, that is why. So let us, maybe this was for some other layout, so if I just remove that, I should be able to see. And maybe I just missed somewhere else some padding. Okay, so maybe while talking and typing I just missed something, so that's why we are not getting it properly. So if I just undo this and give padding somewhere else, maybe we should get over there. Maybe within this I need to add in another div and remove the padding, add the padding, and let's do that. Let's give this a class name of p-1. Okay, and let's push everything on top. Okay, so yeah, now we are getting the padding, and let's now continue for the other features of our property. So I'm just going to duplicate this few more times and give it some other things, like we have the area, right? So let us also import the area icon. Okay, so first let us interpolate the area value. So area square feet, like so. Yeah, we see that 500 square feet, and also we can for this BHK we do not want this underscore over here, because that is coming directly from database. So we just need to remove this underscore. So for that we can use a split method. So split by an underscore and then join back with an empty string. Okay, so that's done. So now let us add the preferred tenants. All right, and then yeah, that's it. We do not need the last one. And let us replace these icons. For this it's going to be expand. I don't know why I don't get suggestions for some reason. Expand alt outlined, and then for this we are going to use the user outlined. Let's import those two. Alright, so that's done. Now if I save this, you see that we are getting the icons for these. Okay, so now let us render the description for these properties. Okay, so right below the tag we can give a h4 class, okay, with a class name of card description. Like so, and within that we are going to show the description. Okay, so property dot description. So first we need to check if it is more than 150 characters. Okay, so if it is more than 150 characters, we just want to show an excerpt. Okay, so of like just 150 characters, and then show some dots after that. Okay, so that is we do not want to show the entire description. It will be flooded with those things, so we want to limit that, and let us use slice of 150 from 0 to 180. Okay, so 180 characters. Okay, so not 150, sorry. And that is, so if it is greater than that, we want to show some dots. Okay, so let us check if property dot description dot length, if it is greater than 180 characters, then we want to show some dots. Okay, the 3 dots, like so. And there's some error, I guess. So this is possibly undefined, because we have set a optional value for description, right, whether we want to describe this property or not. So for this we can just say that, give an exclamation mark saying that even though if there's no description, we can just show this. Okay, because we are already adding this check over here. If it is greater than 180 only, we are showing this dots. Okay, so with that, if I save this, we should see the description. Maybe I forgot some class name, that is why it's showing some it's not giving some space. Sorry, this should be a paragraph tag and I had to render a h4 tag for the property name. Okay, so let's give a class name of margin top of 1, and now we need to display the property name, property dot name. Okay, so now if I save that, okay, so now we should probably be seeing the property name as well. Yeah, there we go. And yeah, so finally everything looks good. So now we just need to display something else, like the location for this property. So let's go right below this and render another icon for the location. So that is going to be environment outlined, and let's import that as well. Alright, so we should see that icon here, and after this we are going to display the address of this location. So property dot street, then the city. Okay, so I can just copy this with a comma separated, property dot city, and then the state, and finally the zip code. Okay, alright, so yeah, that looks good. So if I expand this, I should be able to see them side by side. Sorry, I just made a mistake, I guess, within the grid, CSS grid. So let me just go ahead and fix that. Sorry guys, I just made a mistake, while talking and typing, so that happens sometimes with me. So this card component should come inside the column. Okay, so let us fix that immediately. And yeah, and also the object that we are mapping across all the properties, so this should come inside the row. Okay, so for every property we are displaying a column. So at the moment we are seeing everything in one particular row. Okay, so we just need to bring this inside this, and also this. So if I save that, we should be able to see that. Okay, so yeah, so we should be able to see all of our properties. Okay, nice and good. And yeah, so only thing is left is this errors that we are getting from TypeScript. Okay, so we just need to extend the property object that we are getting from the Prisma client. Okay, so for that, what we can just do is we can go to our db index.ts, and over here we can just export another property of let's say property with images. Okay, so we can just use that instead of just the property. Okay, so now let us export a type. Okay, property with images. You can call this anything you want, by the way, and set this equal to prisma dot property dot get payload. Okay, so we need the payload for that, property get payload, like so. And we just need to within the angle brackets we need to specify what all we want to include within our payload. Okay, so within that, let us put inside an object of include, and inside that we just need the images. Okay, the images model, and set this to true. Okay, so that's it. We are exporting this type. All we need to do is just import this type within our property cards. So instead of this property, we can use the property with images. Sorry, not from Prisma client, so that is from db actually. So property with images. Okay, and then we can assign that value to this props that we are receiving. Okay, there you go. We are right now free from errors from TypeScript, and we can just ignore this. And yeah, so no more errors. And if we just go back to our application and see, we are still getting it without any errors. Okay, so I know this is a long video guys, so I apologize for that, because we had to cover everything related to featured properties, right? So that's it for this video guys. I hope you liked it. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.